You're trembling. Drops of sweat are dripping down your face. Your frightened eyes look up, watching a big flying bug. The Asian giant hornet, the size of a thumb, is hovering above you. It's one of the most dangerous insects on the planet. And not just because its sting looks like a needle. This insect can cause a real economic crisis all over the world and lead to the mass extinction of many species of living creatures on Earth. But we can speak about it later, because now it's going to sting you. The sting of the giant hornet is one of the most dangerous and painful among insects. You're about to find out what happens to the human body after the sting pierces the skin. There's no point in running. The hornet will catch up with you anyway. It flies around you. You hear a strange crackling sound. The hornet flicks its jaws to scare you and keep you at a distance. After a couple of seconds, it attacks. The hornet stings you right in the shoulder. Oh, it doesn't care about your clothes. The stinger can pierce through a thick layer of fabric and even a beekeeper's protective clothing. You need a special suit similar to a spacesuit to be protected from the hornet. Unfortunately, you don't have one. In the beginning, you feel as if a red-hot needle is piercing your body. Through this needle, the hornet injects poison into your skin. The substance dilates the walls of the blood vessels around the bite, which makes your skin turn red. Your body fights the foreign substance and sends out immune cells, but the venom destroys your defense cells, causing your skin to swell. The infected blood is filtered out by your kidneys. The poison contains a substance that is toxic to this organ, but your kidneys don't bother you as much as your shoulder. The bite site is swollen and red. It's burning. The swelling can last from hours to days. It's only one hornet, but it can sting you 10 times. Just imagine what would happen if you stirred up a nest. You would have to hide in dense bushes or jump in the water to escape. And if you get stung several times, you need to go to the hospital. In any case, you are lucky that you don't have severe consequences. People with allergies should stay away from giant hornets. The sting can be catastrophic for their bodies. To avoid coming across these monsters, stay away from their nest. You can hear an alarming buzzing sound from afar. Asian giant hornets are aggressive and will sting anyone who walks past their nest. Authorities always get rid of their nests if they appear within city limits, but not only to stop them from attacking people, but also to prevent the apocalypse. And here's how it can happen. One of the Asian giant hornet's favorite things is attacking beehives. They fly far away from the nest, and when they find a hive, they mark it with a unique pheromone. The smell attracts other hornets, and even a small group of them can completely destroy the hive. About 20 hornets can wipe out about 30,000 bees. Imagine the damage that thousands of hornets could do. This is the main danger they present. By transferring pollen between flowering plants, bees help them grow, breed, and produce food. Bees pollinate plants that cows and other livestock eat. Thanks to bees, we have cotton growing. If hornets wipe out bees, there would be a worldwide shortage of cotton clothing. Simple t-shirts, jeans, and jackets would become more expensive and sooner or later disappear from the markets. Many berries and fruits may lose their rich taste and vitamin content. This could lead to a lack of vitamins, not only in animals, but also in humans. So you won't be able to put on your jeans and favorite shirt and go to a restaurant for a juicy burger. Eggplants, hot peppers, kiwis, blueberries, cranberries, and other products would disappear from the stores. Entire species of animals would stop existing along with the plants. This would lead to an even greater crisis, not only in agriculture, but also in the world economy. Imagine dominoes falling one by one. That's what it would look like. Along with this, the number of hornets would increase. There are almost no animals in the world that could control the growth of the hornet population. If people do nothing, everyone would have to wear thick protective suits to walk outside. Hornets would infiltrate homes and cars and sting people and pets. Of course, people are aware of this danger and take all possible measures to control the population of hornets. Unfortunately, bees can't protect themselves. Their sting can't harm hornets. Bees are much smaller, so they're completely defenseless. But one bee species has developed a fantastic way to resist hornets. Meet the Japanese honeybee. As soon as a giant hornet enters their hive, they instantly attack it, covering the enemy with their bodies. Once the hornet is trapped in this dense living cocoon, the bees begin to vibrate. Their shaking is so fast that they just burn the hornet. After that, the bees discard the much larger insect and go about their business. Well, the strategy is effective for one hornet, but what if many of them appear? Most likely, bees won't be able to cover all enemies. Besides, Japanese bees can't teach other bees how to fight hornets. Fortunately, humans control the giant hornet population. All hornets belong to the wasp family, and among them, the Asian hornet is not the creepiest insect. How about a wasp that can turn other living things into zombies? Spider-manipulating wasps can do that. This tiny insect lives in rainforests. It flies between trees, holding an egg most of the day, and looks for the perfect host. This host will later take care of the offspring. The wasp examines the local fauna, sniffs, avoids predators, and notices a web. The spider uses this web to catch other insects, but this time, the spider has become the prey itself. The wasp is getting closer, but doesn't sting. It just drops the egg on the spider's abdomen and flies away. It's done. There's nothing the spider can do now, since the egg is stuck to its back. The hunter probably doesn't even feel the guest. But then, the larva hatches from the egg, and the spider's life becomes a nightmare. Day after day, the wasp larva feeds on the spider. It can't get it off its back, because the baby wasp controls its mind. The larva has injected a special substance into the spider's body. The poison has a terrifying effect on the spider's brain. Now, the spider cares for the larva's life more than for its own. The spider begins to weave an unusually shaped web of stiffer silk. It makes a particular web pattern inside which the larva will be safe. Then, when the baby wasp reaches a certain level of development, it abandons the exhausted spider and clings to the web. Then, it creates a cocoon that will become its home for a while. When the time comes, the wasp emerges from the cocoon. It can fly and is now able to take care of itself. Whether it's a female or a male wasp, the insect starts looking for a mate to create offspring. Then, if it's a female, it lays an egg, grabs it, and begins flying around the jungle, looking for a new spider. There are even more inventive parasitic wasps. Meet one of them. When the female is about to lay her eggs, she starts looking for a babysitter. Aha, a ladybug. The wasp flies up to the beetle and releases a single egg through its sting. When the larva goes out of the egg, it makes its way inside its host. 20 days have passed. During this time, the larva has developed inside the ladybug, and now it's getting out. But the babysitter's job isn't done yet. The larva creates a cocoon between the ladybug's hind legs. Inside it, it will evolve into an adult wasp. But to keep the cocoon safe, the larva makes a bodyguard out of its host. If something dares to come close, the ladybug will do its best to protect the cocoon. When the wasp inside the cocoon is formed, it leaves its bodyguard. The way the wasp controls the ladybug's mind is still unknown. There are a lot of parasites besides wasps. Some of them can control animals and even humans.
Whew, you wipe the sweat from your brow. You've rented a country cabin out in the woods, desperately needing a break from the city. It's summer, way too hot. You set your suitcases on the living room floor. Go to turn on the light and nothing. The power's off. Great. You head down to the basement to turn the breaker on. There are cobwebs everywhere, but you wouldn't know it. It's so dark down here. You reach for the switch when, ow! Pricked myself on something. The pain's not too bad, so you go ahead and switch the breaker. The lights flip on, and that's when you see her. A little black spider hanging in a web right where you pricked your finger. You start to shrug it off, probably a harmless little thing, but you look closer. Uh-oh, that infamous bright red hourglass-shaped spot. It's a black widow, and she must have bitten you. One thought comes to mind. This isn't good. The black widow is one of the most venomous spiders in the world. Poison 15 times more potent than a rattlesnake's. They won't touch you if you don't touch them. That's why they prefer quiet, undisturbed areas like attics and sheds. But if they feel threatened, or worse, she's got eggs to protect, this normally shy 8-legged introvert will come for you. That's when you see the smooth white ball hanging nearby her web, an egg sac. Yep, you had this coming. The moment your hand entered her do not cross line, her motherly instinct took over. She sunk her pincer-like jaws into your skin, and from those jaws protrude 2 tiny fangs, no longer than a grain of sand. Zoom in closer, and you see they're hollow. If you could follow this itty-bitty tunnel, it would take you to the spider's venom gland. In female black widows, it's pretty large for a small enough spider. If not for the babies, she probably would have just scurried away from you in fear. And if she did bite, she wouldn't waste her precious poison on you, human. It's better left for her next meal. She'd rather just scare you away with what's called a dry bite without venom. But no, this black widow was protecting her precious eggs. So she sinks her fangs into you like 2 needles, and the venom comes rushing from the gland. 2 small red dots remain at the bite site. It's not very painful, but this is only the beginning. Within the first 15 minutes, your arm starts to cramp. You see, spider venom is a special neurotoxin, a protein that gets in the nervous system through the blood. It spreads in the body from the tiny capillaries near the surface of your skin and deeper from there. The toxin grabs onto the protein receptors of our nervous system. Our immune system can't prevent this because venom proteins have very tenacious and strong grips. But your body tries to fight. The bite begins to swell and turn red. It's a sign your immune system is rushing blood full of infection-fighting white cells to the site. Too bad it won't be enough. In 30 minutes, this poisonous protein has attracted loads of calcium to your nerve receptors. The result? Your body starts pumping out hormones that contract your muscle tissues, dilate your vessels, and slow your heart rate. Within 1 hour, your nervous system is going crazy. The toxic protein spreads from the site on your finger, now extremely painful and burning, up your arm, into your shoulder, down your back and chest, further to your stomach, onward down the legs. You're getting severe spasms and cramps all over. It's hard for you to walk. 3 hours later, the venom has made it to all parts of your body. Your muscles are rigid, like you have a full-body Charlie horse. Your abs are so tight, it feels like you have a hard plate under your skin. You try to move, but your legs don't work. Paralysis sets in. Over the next few hours, your condition gets worse. You're now fevered, as the immune system kicks up the temperature to burn the poisonous protein. Sweat is released to cool the body down. Your skin becomes clammy. The neurotoxin reaches your respiratory system and heart. You have trouble breathing, and your heart rate is way down by now. You feel sick to your stomach. Just when you've accepted your fate, the poisonous effects finally start to wear off 12 hours after the bite. The black widow's neurotoxin is losing its power. Your body is gaining the upper hand. The receptors of the nervous system are freed from the venom's protein. The pain decreases. It gets easier to breathe. Your muscles have finally started to relax. After 2 to 3 days, the bite symptoms will completely disappear. You're a lucky one. Your own body managed to come back from the brink. For many people, their immunity isn't strong or developed enough to take the attack on its own. They need medical help and an anti-venom to get rid of the neurotoxin. All that from a tiny little dime-sized spider. But it could have gone a completely different and no less pleasant route. Say it had been a brown recluse. Like with the widow, the initial bite isn't very painful. Some people don't even know they've been bitten. But as soon as it sank its fangs into you, its venom starts to do its dirty but silent work. Within 3 to 8 hours, you get redness and swelling at the side. Yep, there goes your body sending its natural healer, white blood cells. It's starting to burn and the pain intensifies. The red patch will grow around the bite. When the fangs entered, you might develop a blister within the next few days. For healthy people, the decline stops after 3 to 5 days. Then you start feeling better. For others, the wound continues to grow and worsen. This is when you need to let a doctor know. With a brown recluse, the toxin is absorbed into the blood vessels and destroys their walls. When the spider has injected a lot of venom, or your immune system can't cope on its own, it can actually cause tissues to lose blood supply and oxygen, and that's what gives them life. It usually takes 3 weeks for a brown recluse wound to heal. In the worst cases, it can take 2 to 3 months. When the wandering spider bites you, its toxin can cause heavy salivation and a very erratic heart rate. It's often called a banana spider because it likes to hang out on banana leaves. This notorious little monster even ran one UK family right out of their home. They'd brought some bananas at the store, and the bundle ended up hiding a wandering spider's egg sac. The sac opened when the family came home, and the whole house was crawling with baby spiders. At least this one will give you a warning before it bites. It raises its front legs in a defensive mode. If you see this stance, you better run. A bite from a wolf spider isn't too serious for humans. If you're an insect, though, bad news. For people, the site will be red, swollen, and itchy, like with bug bites or bee stings. And you definitely know when you've been bitten by these powerful fangs. The wolf spider doesn't weave a web. It hunts its prey by stalking and pouncing on it. This arachnid speed and look are scarier than its bite. For non-venomous spiders that wait for their lunch to fly into a sticky, webby trap, they get right into action. They quickly run up to the prey and start spinning it in 460 feet of silk, enough to stretch across 2 Boeing 747s. These orb weavers can turn their lunch 28,000 times while trapping it in this cocoon. And if all of that has your arachnophobia meter going off the scale, just be glad you weren't around 400 million years ago. There weren't any dinosaurs yet, but there were spiders. Big ones. Megarachne was over a foot long with a leg span of almost 2 feet, about the length of your arm. Okay, the scientists who discovered its fossils misidentified the great spider. The creature was actually a eurypterid, something like a giant marine scorpion. Hey, close enough. I'm out of here. Uh-oh, you're having a bad day. Those 2 red dots on your ankle look really bad, buddy. Looks like you've been bitten by a snake. You have no idea if it was venomous or not, so here's what might happen next. If it wasn't venomous, consider yourself lucky. You're probably gonna be fine. Still, any snake's fangs carry thousands of bacteria on them, and when they penetrate the skin, these little pests get into your blood to wreak havoc inside your body. The most terrifying of them cause tetanus, a severe condition that's incurable if you don't get medical help in advance. Worse still, you might be that unfortunate person to have an allergy to snake saliva. Like with bees or peanuts, oh yeah, peanuts can be shady. When enzymes in the saliva mix with your blood, your body starts trying to get rid of them. It doesn't realize it's basically fighting itself, so the conflict quickly escalates and you begin feeling nauseous and weak. Eventually, it becomes hard to breathe, and you may even faint. So, even if you've been bitten by a non-venomous snake, call for help pronto. Then, there's a worse scenario. The snake was indeed venomous. Every snake species has its own kind of venom that acts differently from others. Let's see. It can affect either heart and nerves, muscles, or blood vessels. It always starts with a sharp pain at the place of bite. The snake opened its mouth wide, punctured your flesh with its 2 upper fangs, and injected its venom through the channels inside them. The venom goes straight into your bloodstream, and that's when the real black magic begins. If the bite marks are clearly seen on the smooth skin and there's nothing else, it might have been a crate. If the bite starts swelling, it was probably a cobra. You start feeling dizzy, hot, and sweating right away. But that's not venom yet, it's you. You're scared of seeing those bite marks, and the hormones adrenaline and cortisol rush from your adrenal glands into your blood to make you blush and tremble. Your heart's beating faster now, helping the venom spread more rapidly. Soon, you'll start feeling stomach pain and cramps. The toxic enzymes in the snake's venom are reacting with your blood, getting to internal organs and muscles. They're all close to each other, so the toxic stuff hits them quickly and aggressively. And when the venom has gone through your liver, kidneys, and heart, which takes about 15 minutes, it spreads to the nerve endings. It's at this point you begin losing touch with reality, literally. At first, your eyelids will become increasingly heavy. Eyelid muscles are some of the smallest in the body and have few nerves, which makes them an easy target for venom. Then the toxins go on and on through your circulation, filling your smaller blood vessels like a sponge. And as they do, nerves stop functioning from your head down because they're controlled by the brain. It's just getting worse, isn't it? From your eyes, the numbness spreads across your face. Your lips and cheeks become tight, making you look as if you're annoyed with something. Within an hour or two, you will lose the ability to speak and see. The nerves in your face will have turned off completely. But the effects of the bite will go further down, short-circuiting your tongue, lower jaw, neck, diaphragm. Oh boy. When this happens, unfortunately, you're almost beyond rescue. If the diaphragm stops responding, your lungs can't function properly and you stop breathing. And we really shouldn't do that. If you're lucky enough, though, the bite could be light, and then the numbness will not affect your vital systems. It'll still spread from the head down your whole body, but won't be able to get deep inside, going through your top layers, so to say. You might lose feelings in your fingers and toes, your skin, and even be unable to move properly. But if you can see and breathe, the symptoms might go away by themselves in a few days. Don't bet on that though, and call the ambulance as soon as you realize something's wrong. Finally, all this may be completely irrelevant to you because what you feel is not numbness, it's heartache. Both cobras and elapids have a type of venom that goes straight for your heart. When it gets there, and that's pretty soon, it might make the main muscle of your body beat faster or slower, as well as causing irregular beating. This is a huge strain on your heart. You know what to do. Other muscles can also be affected, especially by sea snake venom. It has special toxins that target muscles, and as your eyes get heavy, you might also feel cramps, first in your stomach and then rapidly spreading to your arms, legs, and chest. You will have trouble moving because your muscles will grow stiff, and touching anything will become an ordeal because of the tenderness. In the end, the venom may make you lie in bed and wait until it goes away. If it goes away. Boy, let's just pile on, shall we? Now, if you look at the bite mark and see it swelling, and there's blood from the 2 punctures, it means you've been bitten by a viper. This venom acts differently and is even more terrifying. Oh gee. Its molecules are larger and can't spread so quickly in the bloodstream. That's why they head for your lymph nodes and act from there. As a result, the venom is slow and painful. At first, you will only feel scared and dizzy because of that. Then, after 15 minutes, the venom will start spreading through your body, beginning from where the viper bit you. The thick and viscous substance will mess with your blood, making it clot and causing bruises. The higher it goes, the more of your body it affects. But this progress is slow compared to the effects of cobra and elapid bites. If you don't get medical help, you will notice the swelling growing every hour. As the venom works its way through your lymph, it will make it go against you, causing even more swelling. Lymph is your body's primary defensive barrier. It's a fluid that contains white blood cells which fight diseases. Venom gets into their ranks and causes disarray. White blood cells attack it to no avail, and it spreads ever further. And when the vile thing reaches lymph nodes, they swell, desperately trying to get rid of the intruder. Production of lymph increases, and the bitten part of your body gets more swollen by the hour. Depending on the potency and amount of venom, your limb will grow twice in size by day 2 or 3 from that bite. Since we're talking about your ankle, it's your whole leg that will get afflicted, foot to hip. You won't be able to walk, of course, and sitting will also be off limits. The only hope at this stage is to lie in bed and try not to move. Even this late, there's still a chance your body will cure itself. But if there's any possibility to get you to the hospital, what do you think? Yeah, you should still do it. What the heck? When bitten by a snake, you might panic and do it all wrong, so increase your chances of survival by calming yourself down. Fear will make your heart beat faster, pumping blood through your body and with that, the venom. It still needs time to reach your circulation, so stay calm and lie down, keeping the bitten limb below your heart. Gravity will do the job then. Don't ever try to suck the venom out of the wound. It spreads too rapidly for you to help yourself. You won't even get a drop of it out this way, but only increase your heart rate again by straining. Put away that knife and never try to cut the bite to let out the venom. Like I said, it's already in your blood, and you can make matters worse by cutting. If you didn't have infection inside the wound, you might get it from that knife. Applying cold won't help either. Cold restricts normal blood flow, making venom stay where it is and doing more damage to a single place. Venom might also make tissues more vulnerable to frostbite. You could end up losing a limb. Same goes for tight bandages and tourniquets. When blood flows freely, it lets the venom spread, of course, but also dilutes it, making the substance less potent. The bite might not be as dangerous as you think, but by applying a tight bandage, you can triple its power. Ah yes, summer's at its peak, and you're going out to have some fun. At a barbecue, by the sea, in a park, or on a lakeshore. But wait! Who's going to bug you and spoil all the pleasure? Someone very small but very annoying. Yes, it's those 2-year-old twins running amok, spilling the lemonade and pulling the doggy's tail. Aren't they a handful? Where are their parents? Anybody got a leash? Okay, actually, this isn't about them. It's about some other pests. Yep, insects. There are billions of them, and most are innocent and scared out of their wits of the huge humans. But a few others can bite or sting you and cause real trouble. Let's see which ones you'd rather keep off your party list. Number 1. Spider. Almost all 40,000 different kinds of spiders are venomous. Don't panic, not for people. Human skin is too thick for most of them, and they can't inject the poison. A spider's bite usually looks like 2 dots in a circle. But there are 3 kinds of spiders whom you'd better avoid: the black widow, the tarantula, and the brown recluse. Their bites can cause intense pain for 1 to 1.5 hours. Symptoms also include dizziness and shivering, and it can be hard to breathe. Brown recluse spiders live in the Midwest and south of the central U.S. regions. They choose houses, barns, and lofts, and can hide behind furniture or floorboards. They have a violin mark on the forebody, but it's difficult to see. The black widow lives in the whole territory of the country, usually outdoors in protected places, like heaps of stone or firewood. It has a red or orange hourglass mark on the belly. You turn it over to look. Tarantula's bites are very rare, and thank goodness, New World tarantulas are not venomous. But if you try to disturb him on purpose, he can throw out needle hairs, which can cause an allergic reaction. You get it, don't mess with tarantulas. Now, if a spider did bite you, don't do this. Put a tourniquet on the damaged arm or leg, cut the wound by yourself trying to get rid of the poison. Eat. Wash the bite area with soap, put ice on it, and take a painkiller if necessary. Drink a lot of water. If the bite is on the arm or leg, go to bed and put it down to stop the spreading of the poison. To prevent an allergic reaction, you might need to take an antihistamine. Anyway, if the bite starts swelling or you feel pain, call the doctor immediately. Number 2. Mosquito. Mosquito bites usually look like swollen red spots about the size of a small berry. They can often be mistaken for a skin allergy. The difference is that they're usually only found on open areas of the body, where the skin is the thinnest and blood vessels are closer to the skin. Mosquitoes very rarely get underclothes, since it's dangerous for them. A brightly colored swollen circle is usually a mosquito bite. It takes its final shape very quickly and doesn't change for a long time. A lot of red spots after a walk, or in the morning when you wake up, are signs of the insect's attack. When biting a human, mosquitoes inject their saliva, which contains a blood thinner, into the wound. This is what causes the swelling, redness, and itching. An allergy, however, has different symptoms. A rash spreads all over the body, even under clothes. Rash areas merge with each other and don't have a particular shape. They can change their look very quickly. Antihistamines help to relieve the symptoms of an allergy. Some people have an allergy to mosquito bites because the body reacts to blood thinners in their saliva and tries to destroy them. It's quite a common thing. An allergy to mosquito bites has the following symptoms. A single bite can cause an extensive rash on a big area of the body. Often the affected person has intense itching and swelling around the bite. A runny nose and itchy and watery eyes are signs of an allergy to mosquito bites too. Mosquitoes can also carry infectious diseases. If you get a fever, pain in your joints, and your lymph nodes start swelling after a mosquito bite, call the doctor immediately. It could be an infection. Number 3. Tick. A body reacts to a tick's attack with a red spot in the place of a bite. The insect can stay attached to the skin for a long time, sucking blood and increasing in size. You can get a tick from any area of forest or timber, a walk in the park, or even the backyard if you've got uncut grass there. They can also attach to animals, especially dogs, and catch a ride inside your home on them. The worst thing about ticks is that they can infect people with encephalitis, borealitis, or Lyme disease, and other diseases. Not all ticks are disease carriers. About 80 to 90% of them are clean of any viruses or bacteria. But there can be an allergic reaction to the tick's bite if a person is prone to allergies, has weak health, has been operated on recently, or gets a lot of bites at once. A tick's mouth parts allows it to stick to the skin, deep and firm, without causing pain to a human. Ticks are pretty merciful, aren't they? No. That's why you might not find it on your body until the next day, or even several days after the bite. Sometimes you don't notice the tick or the bite altogether. You'll face the biggest danger of getting infected if you live in a region endemic in ticks infections, or visit it during their highest activity, from the middle of May till the end of September. But one can be attacked during any warm season. Ticks usually stay on high grass and catch on the legs of people or animals. They choose the grass along paths since they can smell the people passing by. Sometimes they climb to the bushes and lower branches of trees. Having reached a human body, the tick starts searching for an area with thin skin, which is easier to bite through. That's why it often sticks to the belly or the small of the back, chest, armpits, necks, ears, and the hairy part of the head. If you've found a tick on your body, remove it with tweezers and go to the doctor, even if you feel okay. Some diseases have a pretty long incubation period and have no signs at first. You'll need to take a blood test to make sure that there's no infection. You can also take the tick itself to a laboratory, where it'll be tested for infections. Number 4. Bug. In general. Bug bites look different. Some people don't notice them at all, others have a strong allergic reaction with itching and pain. A bug bites through the skin, trying to feel for a suitable capillary. That's why it often leaves a line of 5 to 7 bites in a row. Sometimes it's difficult to tell a bug's bite from an allergic dermatitis. Bites look like a gathering of micro skin injuries in the same area, usually making up a line. On sensitive skin, the line can turn into a single red swollen spot, and it can be difficult to see the exact places where the skin was pricked. Sometimes there will be darker red spots there. Itching is one of the nastiest effects of a bug's bite. The bites can keep itching constantly and be painful to the touch. Bugs usually attack open areas of body – face, neck, shoulders, and arms. Hygiene is the bug's main enemy. So, first of all, you'll need to wash the bitten spots with soap. At worst, you'll need an anti-inflammatory medicine or an antihistamine. Number 5. Bee. A bee can leave a stinger in the spot where it got you. You'll have to extract it carefully. Bee stings aren't dangerous if you don't have an allergy to them. The trauma can look different depending on the part of the body where the sting is. If it's on a leg, arm, or back, the damage will be minor. The skin gets red and swollen, or a small thick blotch will appear. You'll feel a stinging pain and burning. Then the spot around the sting gets white, and there will be a pins and needles sensation around the bite. This happens because of the bee's poison, apitoxin. 15 to 20 minutes after the sting, you'll feel an intense itching. The spot where the stinger itself punctured looks like a small reddish wound. The swelling lasts from 1 to 20 hours and reduces with time. It's quite different if the bee stings you on soft and sensitive parts – face, eyelids, areas around eyes, lips, neck, head, armpits, etc. In that case, there will be more intense swelling. Your eye could even swell completely shut, and it can last from 36 hours to 8 days. The intensity of pain depends on the person's pain barrier. For people with a high barrier, it won't be too much discomfort. After you've been stung, tend to the wound with hydrogen peroxide and put ice on it. The cold will relieve the pain and reduce the swelling. Things are much worse if you have an allergy to apoptoxin. The bite can lead to Quinchy's disease and anaphylaxis, which is life-threatening. Most people with a severe allergy to bees will carry an emergency treatment with them anytime they're outdoors. Otherwise, call the doctor immediately and take an antihistamine to reduce the symptoms. Finally, if the bee is musical, it's left to let it be. Otherwise, if you squash a bee natural, he be flat. Mosquitoes, those brazen little buggers that buzz off with a belly full of your blood. Bah humbug. They can even ruin a nice picnic in the park, camping out with your friends, or even your own humble abode. Oy. Mosquitoes are the single worst thing about summer. Why do they have to bite? And why does it itch like crazy? It's time we got some answers. Nature is a strange thing indeed. Australia's got platypuses, mammals that lay eggs and have beaks like ducks. There are jellyfishes that can potentially live forever. There are so many exotic and extremely rare creatures that can be called true oddities or even miracles of nature. But mosquitoes? Come on! They're nothing like that. They're innumerable, and they come in swarms just about anywhere you go. Still, and I really don't want to accept it myself, they appear to be a miracle of nature as well. First of all, mosquitoes are ancient critters thought to have evolved between 50 and 100 million years ago. That means even the dinosaurs weren't free of their irritating presence. Imagine a T-Rex trying to swat one away with his tail? Poor thing. And of course, they spread everywhere. Chances are the first human being on this planet was bitten by a mosquito, probably more than once in their life. Mosquitoes prove to be a highly adaptable species. Except for Antarctica, they live on all continents in a variety of climates, from tropical sub-Saharan Africa to the cold forests of Siberia, Russia. There are about 3,000 different species of mosquitoes all around the world. All they need for survival is some water and a warm meal. No, not your granny's home cooking. They only want what's pumping through your veins. So, how did they become adapted to feed on the blood of animals? Just to get things straight right from the start, not all mosquitoes suck blood. I'm not talking about different species of this insect, but about severe differences between female and male mosquitoes. Only females drink blood, while male specimens feed solely on nectar. It's as if all the men on Earth were exclusively vegetarian by nature. Such a critical difference in feeding behavior between males and females is extremely rare. The good news is, you can tell the difference between the two. Male mosquitoes are a bit smaller than females. And if you see one nearby with fancy-looking feathered antenna, don't rush to smack it just yet. It's a male, and it won't bite you no matter what. You see, the wings of female mosquitoes move so swiftly that they resonate on a very high frequency, from 300 to 500 beats per second. This makes that annoying high-pitched buzzing sound that can have you scouring your house slipper in hand. The male's feathered headpieces are specifically attuned to locate this sound so they can find a mate. As for the antenna of the female mosquitoes, they're smooth. A mosquito's lifespan is only about a month or two. Well, that's for the females. The guys live a lot shorter, around 2 weeks. All this time they must keep busy, especially females, since their job is a lot harder. They need to find a source of blood meal to be able to produce eggs, but I'll go into that more a bit later. Once their eggs are ready, it's time to find a nice place with standing water to release them. Since they're in a race against time, they look for a source of blood usually within 1 to 2 miles of the breeding ground. And that's exactly why you shouldn't have any standing water near your house if you don't want a mosquito invasion. Okay, but what about that bug zapper you have on your front porch? Sorry, not much use here. Contrary to popular belief, mosquitoes don't search for their prey looking for lights. To be fair, there aren't many species that prefer human blood at all. Most of them would rather feed off mammals that, don't grab a shoe or newspaper and squish them. But there are even more like that feed only on birds or even reptiles and amphibians. Well, if they don't use light, then how do they find you? They have a variety of methods, but they mostly use scent. More specifically, they're sniffing for your body heat and the one thing every living, breathing thing produces constantly – carbon dioxide or CO2. Every time you exhale, you allure loads of flying pests. A mosquito can sense a tiny concentration of pure CO2 in the air from more than 75 feet away. Hey, just hold your breath. Well, no. At closer distances, they'll go towards the heat and anything that moves. They have a couple things to help them with that latter bit. 1. Compound eyes with hundreds of lenses that give them a wide field of vision. And 2. Tiny hairs all over their body that guide them toward the movement of big animals. So, when you're out mowing the lawn, your body is moving the air around you, and the tiny hairs on a mosquito's body can sense this. Still, the true mystery of mosquitoes is in their feeding habits. What you perceive only as a short stinging feeling is, in fact, a long and ingenious process. When a mosquito finds its prey, it approaches carefully. The buzzing kind of gives them away, but I guess they can't do much about that since the sound comes from their flapping wings. The task is even more difficult since they need 3 minutes to fill their belly. That's 3 minutes of the constant threat of being smashed by their prey. Ow! Has anyone ever told you that waving your hands or swatting at mosquitoes to scare them away is pointless? Next time you can answer back with this. A 2018 study led by biologist Dr. Jeff Riffle proved that mosquitoes can remember the scent of a particularly aggressive prey and avoid it completely for 24 hours. That means if a mosquito tries to bite you and you decide to brush it off or swat at it, it'll probably choose someone else to bite next. And that's wise of it, because even if it manages to land undetected, it won't be able to sting immediately. A mosquito's mouthpiece, or proboscis, is far more complex than just a sharp straw to suck blood through. It consists of 6 separated long and thin parts called stylets, protected by an outer lip of sorts. Yes, they stick not 1 but 6 needles in you. Some of those have razor-sharp teeth that cut through the skin. Here's a fun fact. Medical scientists were inspired by the form of a mosquito stylet to make needles less painful. Well, that's good. Other parts of a mosquito's feeding equipment serve different purposes. Some find blood vessels in the skin, and others inject the mosquito's saliva. The saliva itself is crucial in the whole process. Remember, they need around 3 minutes to get enough blood. But the most dangerous part is the moment they pierce the skin, because that's when the prey can feel the bite. So the mosquito injects its saliva immediately after it bites you. The saliva consists of more than 100 different components, most of which are these organic substances called enzymes. They serve one purpose: to stop blood from clotting and improve its flow. There are also other components used, like a local anesthesia. From the moment they're in, the prey won't feel anything. That is, until the mosquito leaves and the bite mark starts itching. The reason for that reaction is simple. Most people are allergic to those enzymes. And I say most because there are those rare individuals who won't itch at all if a mosquito bites them. Must be nice. But the last and most important question remains. Why do they need blood? Especially if the males can just live off nectar. Like I touched on earlier, females need blood to develop eggs. More specifically, she needs loads of protein and iron, which blood happens to be rich in. After a good meal and a belly bloated full of the red stuff, a mosquito will need a day or 2 off just to digest it. Then she lays her eggs and the whole cycle starts again. Good thing we don't take first place on her menu of preferred meals. And we humans are well prepared for their invasion, no matter how many of them come. My only advice is to use methods that mask your scent, like candles, herbs, and sprays. The best traps are probably the ones that properly use science to lure mosquitoes to their demise in masses by producing the carbon dioxide they seek. Still, any repellent will do the trick so that you're not left itching like the dickens.